Hello everyone, my name is Chris. Welcome to my channel. If it's your first time joining me, please I would like you to subscribe if you don't mind, and also like the video. I want to apologize for the noise in the background. I'm in my basement making this, so if you're hearing my cooling system going on, please I apologize for that. Let's just focus on what we're doing today. So today I'm going to show you guys how I um, once again how I make my car air freshener. This afternoon one of my candle customers contacted me asking me if I've started selling my car air fresheners. So she ordered 8 and I'm going to put them together. So while thinking of putting them together, I said, why not record this so people can see exactly how I fragrance them. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is I use different um, containers for each fragrance so that I don't mix fragrance oils. I don't just put one fragrance into the other the next time I come back. So I have a lot of these um, yogurt containers that we've used in the past, and I just have a lot of them. So instead of throwing them away, I'm reusing them for my fragrance. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing today. So this lady ordered 4 different fragrance, 2 each. So we're talking about pineapple. So right here I have the lid, so I know what it is every time I come in, so I don't mix them up. She ordered the Blue Tropics, and my Blue Tropics is just the name I gave it, and it's gonna be the Jamaican Me Crazy fragrance oil. She ordered the lemon, the fresh lemon, and that's it right there. Right now there's nothing in it. I'm gonna show you guys how I mix everything together. And right here is the strawberries that she ordered. And behind each of the um, containers, I have the fragrance oils right there. Okay, and behind this is my DPG. All right, so that's my DPG that I use for mixture. Some people will use other carrier oils. I believe some will use Agio oils. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. But I use DPG because for me it has worked for me. Other people might use something else that has worked for them, and that's fine. And I have my scale here wrapped in a plastic bag because when I use it for my candles, I have all this wax. Don't want the wax to stain them. And if you're using something like this or any of your scales, cover them in plastic bag if you're doing it for candles, because it took time for me to scrape all those wax out of them. And I'm going to be using my cup, my fragrance oil cup, where I measure and I pour. All right, so that's what we'll be doing today. All right guys, to begin I will show you guys where my cardstocks are. These are not scented, these are just the unscented cardstock, my 3mm. So that's what I'll be using today. All right guys, so right here is my cardstock, the 3mm's. That's where I'll be taking them from to fragrance them. What I did was I put them in a stack of 20. Okay, so I'll just grab this whole one. From this I'll be making the order from my customer. So in each of those containers I'll be putting 10. Okay, so each of the containers I'll be putting 10. So I'm just going to take a few of the 20s. All right guys, instead of 80 I'm just going to take 40. I'm split them into 10 of the 4 containers. So 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, and 10 here. Okay, and I just threw some of my stuff on the floor. Okay, so you guys can see they are all placed on top of my container. So 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, and 10 here. So I'll be using 1-to-1 ratio for my mixture. So I'll be putting 1 ounce, okay, 1 ounce of fragrance oil to 1 ounce of DPG, 1 to 1. So for example, if my fragrance oil is very strong, okay, like I'm using raspberry truffle, or if I'm using fresh coffee, one of those stronger smells, I'll be doing 1 part of fragrance oil to 2 parts of DPG. But because my fragrance oils right now that I'm using are relatively strong, I don't need to put 2 parts of DPG. I'm just going to do 1 to 1. And remember, DPG is just for, is a carrier oil that will help enhance the fragrance of your car air freshener, okay? And also it will give it that longevity. I've used it so many times and I keep using it. And instead of me to put just plain in there, I do not, because with a plain, just putting it without a mixture, what could happen is that your fragrance will be releasing faster from your cardstock. Okay, with a DPG or any carrier oil, what it does, it slows the pace or the rate at which your cardstock will disperse the fragrance oil. So it slows the pace while it's still releasing it. Okay, so the customer is not getting all at once fragrance strength, all at once disbursement of the fragrance in the cardstock. So it's just giving it little by little. Why the customer is going to smell it, it's going to be in their car, but it's not going to just give it all at once. Okay, so it will make it last longer. That is what I've experienced using this, and that is what I've been using since 2020. That's why I still choose DPG for this. Okay, for those of you that might be using other carrier oils, I cannot tell you how your carrier oils is going to perform. I cannot tell you the ratio to use for your carrier oil. And also, if you're using any other fragrance oil, I don't know how to explain to you how yours is going to work, because if you're not using the same one I'm using that I've tested for my 3M cardstock, you know, there are certain variables that go hand in hand. That's why I recommend that you guys do your testings before you start producing. Okay, and sometimes I still do my testing when I get new fragrance oils. It's just like candle making. You got to do testing, right? The testing in candle making is more involved than in car air freshener. Car air freshener, you just testing your oils with your DPG and your cardstock. Okay, with candle is more involved than that. I could take you 6 months to even come up with a perfect test with candles, because you got to do the wick, you got to test the fragrance oil, you got to test the wax. If you put additive, you got to test for that. If you don't put additive, you got to test for that. If you're mixing wax, which means blending wax, you got to test for that. So there's a lot of things going on with your testing. You got to test based on the diameter of the size of jar you're using, or the pillar mode you're using. So there's so much going. That's why it will take 6 months to even to a year to come up with your perfect recipe. With car air freshener, it doesn't take you up to 6 months. If you know what you're doing fast, you could get your result on time. Okay, so just know the kind of cardstock you're getting. For me, I will not go with synthetic felt. I don't use that anyways, because those ones never dry. They never absorb. It takes them forever, and you cannot submerge them the way I'm going to show you guys today. You cannot do that with synthetic felt sublimation papers. You cannot do that. Okay, with this cotton cardstock, you'll see how I'm going to soak them in, and then when I bring them in within 30 minutes, even or less than that, it will absorb the entire mixture that I put in here. Okay, so that's why I encourage people to use the cardstock, the cotton cardstock, because it has that absorbing power. You can see the thickness is different from the 1.5 I was using. This is a 3.0. You can see it. All right, guys. All right, let's get cracking. There's something I want to show you guys. So as you can see, me see if I can. All right, you guys can see this. You guys can see this. I'm gonna measure. I'm gonna weigh one of this. All right, I'm gonna weigh this and see what it weighs before fragrance oil, to show you guys how this cardstock can absorb fragrance oil without sipping it through. Okay, so I'm gonna weigh this one. Let me zero this. Okay, so right here this is 0.3, okay, ounce. Okay, that's the weight, 0.3 ounce. All right, 3 mm. All right, 0.3 ounce. I'm gonna write it down somewhere, so when I come back I do the measurement. This is what we call our baseline, right? That's what we're using in medical terms. So that's a baseline that we have here. So after the fragrance oil has been added and dried up, we're gonna weigh it again and see how much fragrance oil we have per fragrance per cardstock. Okay, let's get going. All right, so let's put the cards in our container. This is the pineapple. Put it in. You guys can see that I don't have any of the ropes or string hanging. I like this better. My previous ones, they came with the ropes already attached by my manufacturer, and when I put my fragrance oil, I try to avoid the oil touching the fragrance, touching the ropes. Let's measure our fragrance. Zero this. You guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, let's zero this. It's been zeroed. Let's go with the lime or lemon. Let's try with the lemon. So I want to put 1 ounce, okay? All right, that's perfect. That's 1 ounce. Right, let's grab our DPG. So I'm going to zero this again. I'm going to put 1 ounce of DPG. If you don't want to do what I'm doing, you can use a different container to do your measurement. But you don't want to over pour on it. I'm able to do this because I've been doing this for a long time and I know how to just stop when I'm supposed to. So you guys can see it's perfect 1 ounce. So that is the 1-to-1 ratio that I have. All right, so now I'm going to stir this very well, mix it up, and then I'm going to pour it. You want to stir this for up to 2 minutes, guys. I know it's a long time, but trust me, the better, the longer you stir this, the better. All right, you want everything to be mixed up homogeneously. Okay, this smells so good. This lemon smells really good. So I'm going to stir this for 2 minutes. All right. All right, it's been 2 minutes. So now I'm going to mix this in my cardstock. Right, let me show you guys. So that's what it is. I'm going to mix it in. Just let it run in. Don't worry about it. It's going to soak all of this in. Okay, now just going to come and close this up. Just give it a gentle stir, just gentle shake. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of them, and I'll come back and show you guys everything. Alright guys, so it's been about 30 minutes or 35 minutes, and I'm just want to show you guys what we have here. So right here you can see that it's completely soaked everything. You can see that it soaked the entire thing. And this is the pineapple. Thing is soaked, absorbed the fragrance oil, and it's heavy, right? So let's do our test. Remember the first time we did the weight, when we weighed this, it was 0.30. So if I go back again, all right, we zero this. So I'm going to put this there. So what do we have? 0.50. So it absorbs 0.20 ounce of fragrance oil. So it took in 0.20 ounce. All right. So if I take this out and I put in the one that is not, just for example, take the one that is not fragrant at all, put it in there. So you see 0.35. Let me see if I can. Let me zero this up. Put this up. So you see 0.30, 0.35. Okay. So if I take this up and I put this on, see 0.50 to 55. So it has absorbed about 0.20 to 0.25 ounce of fragrance oil. Okay, so that's what we have there. Okay, let's take this, let's put it back, and that's for the pineapple. And this is the Jamaica Me Crazy, which is the Blue Tropics. See that? Soaked completely. There's a little bit, you can see a little bit of fragrance oil in there, but it's completely soaked it. If I say I should measure this, so this one has 0.50 as well. That's the Jamaican Me Crazy. So the next is the lemon. Completely dried up. See that? Completely dried up. And all soaked in. Look how thick they are. So if I take one of them, I'll throw up there. So 0.55. So it's soaked in, it absorbed more. Okay? Yeah, it absorbed about 0.25 from the 0.3. Okay? You can see the strawberry. See that? Completely soaked. Also, look at that. Alright? If I do the measurement for this, or the weight, 0.50. So all of them are between the average of 0.50, to 0.55. So that's what we have with the measurement of them after they've been fragrant. Okay, so we have our car air freshener ready to be packaged. So I'm going to show you guys my new packaging, and I'm going to show you guys the other packaging that I received. Okay.